All right, welcome to the stream, guys. Not going to have too much to do here because we've already got a good pre-discussion going on in Discord. I wanted people to help me catch up. I've been on vacation to the happiest, most magical, maybe the most expensive place on earth, Disney World. Literally everyone there is really nice, and I had a really good time with my family. Decided to have Disney up on the screen as we're loading here today. I don't know if just the parks alone are a reason to invest or their intellectual property, but I think it's probably one of the cheapest points that's been in many years. And so actually, I put Disney into my nephew's custodial account, also my niece's, because hopefully, by the time they care, in about 20 years, I think Disney will still be around. So I think that's a pretty good investment. So today I'm going to catch myself up. We're going to do a lot of market recap and research. Like I said, we have a very good following in the Discord. I need to plug it. Link down below. I stream this every Friday, even if I'm off for the week, on Discord, TradingView, and YouTube. But come join our discussion on Discord. I'll be a lot more active next week. So, I tell you what we talked about earlier, Ant. What's your read on the week?
The read in the week is the weekly. They keep rejecting lower prices around 40.80 ES, and they didn't close this week over 41.55. But I don't know. There's just clearly no interest below right now.
Yeah,
No interest above either, but no
this
interest
is
below.
this has been the level. So for those that just come into the stream, the level that I've been looking at for months and months and months is the 50% retracement of the all-time high on the S&P 500 down to the October low that was on the CPI. And man, it just keeps flirting with this level. This is the level we're talking about here on S&P 500 futures. I remember catching, or was it Wednesday when they had the
FOMC.
FOMC, and here we are on a 5-minute chart, and this is a over a year's worth of level, and on the FOMC, boom, boom, boom. This is why I rely on these levels. It's not magic, but damn it if it isn't one of the best things that you can look at, a long-term level to day trade off of even. And this works on any instrument. And we'll look at some of those too. So what was your experience trading this week? Futures and
It was
whatnot?
it was it was lovely week.
A lot of action.
A lot of action. There was like we had a weird kind of grind trend down on Thursday on the Friday. I'm sorry, Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Thursday. They kind of chopped it around. One of my favorite levels was 40.80, and there was a 50% retracement on NQ. I think it was 284 on NQ from the low we had last or beginning of May to the high we had in May.
Oh, okay.
So if
That
you
was on
draw that there,
Tuesday this week. Are you talking about before the
hang
FOMC?
on, I gotta get my chart. My
Yeah.
chart. Hang on. The one that I am talking about is from the low in April. The low we had in the end of April to the high we had in the very beginning of May.
Yep.
There was a 50% retracement to 13.084, and they
Mm-hmm.
spiked it and bounced off it on Wednesday after hours, and then they messed around with it all day on Thursday, and then Timmy Cook took us to the promised land after hours, and then she never looked back until we did a full traverse of the balance.
That 3 minute, the 3 a.m. dip to it last night. Let's see
Yeah,
here. Yeah. And then the
we were
breakout
long
today.
we were long from 74 ES though into the close
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. There was a buyer just sitting on 72, 74 all day, and he won. He won the game.
And they brought it all the way back up to this level now on the ES just to hit it again.
Yep.
They also VIX. Let me clean this up a little bit. And VIX came back up into that 20 this week and just bounced off of it again.
Yeah.
They can't get the fear to get high enough, can they?
No, but we think we talked about it last Friday. 17 is my other number for VIX, and we spiked it today and closed back above
Mm-hmm.
17. I don't know why I have 17 in my chart, been there for years, but that's my other number. And
It's
I just haven't removed
probably
it.
a low from a while back in early 2022. You know, I was
Probably.
you know how when you're in a taxi, you want to talk to the taxi driver, see what they're buying, you know, to know if there's a bubble on something. I didn't really
Yeah.
get that, but the guy going to the airport, he wanted to talk to me about. He asked what I did. I said I did, you know, trading and investing. So of course he talked about, you know, that kind of stuff. He's trying to, you know, save up money for his family, all that good stuff. That good story. But he started talking about the failure of the dollar. So that is in the consciousness of everyone right now, apparently.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it hasn't gotten below. It keeps messing around under 102,
yeah,
but
I mean it's
no
definitely
break of 100.
broken that level that I've been looking at, and so yeah.
I don't know. I know you don't really use this, but one of the things I like to look at longer term is when there's a RSI divergence on the like a 4 hour chart for a longer term chart like
I'll
this.
bring it up. Hang on.
And
Give me a second. RSI, you just standard settings.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not a. I don't trade solely off this, but I'll sometimes look for confluence. So if you kind of draw an ascending line on the RSI and the 4 hour chart, starting from like the initial hit of 102, and this is what makes me interested
Mm-hmm.
is you can see we're making higher lows on the RSI, and we keep making lower lows. So I'd love to see us poke down into under 101 one more time and try to take some kind of reversal play there.
To go back up, huh?
Yeah, I mean we'll see how far that goes, right? I mean they can't let the gold bugs get paid, can they? Right? I mean look what they did to gold today or this week. No, you
It's
don't
down
really
a
watch
percent.
that.
That's good. We're kind of jumping through things to look
They
at. This
they
is
got
catching me up.
yeah they got a nice spike and got slapped. You know they're not going to pay those
Yeah.
guys forever. I don't think.
So gold, I think I've kind of written off trying to go into it unless we get some kind of breakout. But it's definitely, yeah, it came up to essentially the August 2020 high, and yeah, also the high from March of last year. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people sold it. Little spike and
Sure did.
potential double top up there. Ooh, that is a spike, isn't it?
It is. So
Close
you
back
can see
below.
yeah, you can see the argument being made for the dollar to turn here, right? I
Yeah,
think in a couple different ways. And
yeah.
100 is such a big mental level.
For
I mean,
DXY,
it's
yeah.
yeah for Dixie. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, it's an arbitrary number when you think about it. It doesn't really mean anything, but 100 is a big fat round number, and it's made three bottoms there. So if they spike that low, I'm gonna dive in for myself. But I like to kind of roll the dice, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
do not
gotta.
follow.
You got it. I mean, that's the contrarian play. I think also, you know, looking at this on gold here, there's a good case for a short trade. You know, going into next week, if we get a little pullback inside, you know, towards if it tries to make maybe a little retest up here into the 2050 or something like that, you got some good risk reward down to the 50% retracement back at the 1850 level. So I kind of like that for a contrarian play too.
Yeah, I wish they just hadn't gapped it like that. That makes it really hard to play.
Are you
You
looking at
know,
futures or maybe GLD?
I'm looking at GLD. I don't know if futures it doesn't track exactly the same. Let me
Mm-hmm.
pull up futures.
Yeah,
It looks any different.
either one looks
Yeah,
the same, except GLD didn't
yeah.
quite get up as high.
I I know you don't play this, but could I see GLD filling the gap? I might be interested. I'm gonna set an alert for that.
Back up to 188.87 basically. You know, on Monday,
Yeah.
maybe come back up.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
yeah, possibly could. That's the same thing as same with GC, the gold futures.
Yeah.
Get a little try again. I mean, you know, your stop needs to be basically if it breaks the high from this week, it's probably going to break, you know, the high from
She
March.
gone.
And then you got to see if it actually holds and follows through. It could give you another overshoot as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that looks nice to me. I'm gonna give that let me see if that comes up.
Gonna give it a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I'll probably take a trade there, and I'll maybe do some ads. We'll see.
Yep. All right, we're going to the list, so let's keep going. So TLT, the
I think it's
trade of the
one more
year.
one final thought. If you draw
Oh,
50 from the high on GC to the low it made today,
uh-huh.
the dead center is the exact top of the breakdown bar from today's open. What a coincidence!
What do you mean? Top from the top of Wednesday to the low of today?
Yeah, I know it's the short term, but it's interesting that it's the exact top of the break. Like, it's a completely symmetrical move.
Uh-huh. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay. Get the pullback there, and then
I don't think
maybe.
that's a tradable thing. It's just interesting to see that it's completely symmetrical.
Mm-hmm. Breakdown up, like a fractal pattern. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Well, you draw them differently than I do. If you draw it manually, what you did, and you don't look at the dots, look at the top of the breakdown, like from this morning, the very top of like the bar. If you look at the hourly, where
You
you drew
want
it
to?
manually, see where it just fell off a cliff this morning,
Yeah. Oh,
right there.
okay. I see what you mean. Like, so that
Yeah,
trend. All right, hold on. Let me see
yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah. So, like, what I would do
No,
is
no,
basically the start of it.
you drew it correctly. No, you drew it correctly the first time, but you were looking at the dots. Your automated, yeah. There were that green. There's a tiny little green bar sandwiched in there that they dove off the cliff right at the 50%.
Yeah.
It's completely symmetrical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. TLT bonds. Probably ZB looks about the same. Really not much of a change this week. Got anything on
Win
that?
bid. Win moon. That's what I want to know. No, yeah,
When
I
moon
think
is when they stop raising rates, and I thought that there was, when I read the news, I was hearing that it's like a hawkish pause, whatever that means, that they're speculating on. So yeah,
yeah, I'm still happy to add to my bond positions here.
yeah. Hey, what's up, Trading View Market Cues? What do you mean bullish mega stocks? What is a bullish mega stock? Is that like a blue chip?
I think
And
Apple is a bullish mega stock.
yeah, Apple had good earnings this week, didn't they?
Yes.
All right, let's see. Ooh, look at that. Coming back up to the top of that range. I think people have asked me about Apple, what the opinion is, and I mean, I just, for me, there's nothing in here tradable. I mean, it's about to come up to the high. I mean,
Yeah. If you wanted to be speculative, one might take some puts like a month out,
oh,
say it
look
might
at you.
spike to high, and I'll add.
Yeah, look at you being contrarian.
One might have already done that today,
Mm-hmm. Short
but
Apple.
that's. I think if Apple breaks out above the high and we get to maintain over this 155, 4155, 4165, I think that it makes it hard to argue that we're still bearish in the
Yeah.
market for me.
I mean,
Not that I think that anyway, but
this thing could break out. So
yeah,
who knows?
Tim Cook is the
Uh,
market.
hey, look at AMD. Kathy Woods bought the stock. What do I think about Kathy or AMD?
Oh, you missed the fun of that one yesterday.
Oh, really?
You'll like that.
Because it
Look
was
at the hourly
earnings
chart on that thing. No,
on AMD?
yeah, look at the hourly in that thing.
Yeah, look at that. I wonder, did she come out and say that she bought it to try to save the
She
stock?
no, she by some trick of fate, I think she announced she bought on like 5/3, the morning of 5/3 or the morning of 5/4, and then they announced that Microsoft is going to help fund their new AI initiative, and you can see what that did to the price.
Buzzword, AI initiative.
Yeah,
Look at that.
yeah.
AI is the thing for this year. It can make anything go up. It's just that we're just not in a bull enough market that it's making things go moon. What? We got to go back to AI and see.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
it's ugly.
yeah, it broke that 50. Yep,
It did.
that's not good for it. Mm. As far as AMD goes, though, I don't see an opportunity right here, right now, for me. For me, um, it had a really, yeah, it's just been kind of wonky on these pullbacks. I mean, I would probably say that this leg up is coming up to at least 110. That's the most obvious place for it, and then see what happens there. Might be a little slow grind as well, but I don't really see anything for me to buy here right now.
Yeah,
But
I don't like even I wouldn't jump in on that one. I got nothing on that one. That's too crazy.
yeah,
The
I mean,
news.
I would say if you did, you know where your stop needs to be probably at the low earnings today. I mean, that's it. It should be making higher lows. So that's what I'd say about that. Let me jump into crypto real quick. Clean this up. I don't think much has changed in Bitcoin. I'm still looking for a pullback to about 25, and it's just taken a while to get down there. So that's the 50% retracement of the whole bank FUD news. So something something around about there. See, Ethereum is up about 6% today. I still want to see it come back to 1750. So not much has really changed in those fronts. Still looking at it. Monero holding its level, but not going anywhere either. So crypto is still kind of in a winter. Am I still bullish on the market cues? Well, I talked about that a little bit earlier. Last week, the S&P 500 closed above the level, the 4155 level. And then this week, it closed right below it. Where it breaks out of this auction zone is really going to be the key. It's really
I
hard
love
to
your
say
use
right
of
now.
verbiage there.
Do what?
I love your use of words there.
What now?
And after
Whatever.
my own heart. Auction zones.
Yeah, well, I picked that up from you. Yeah, I like that idea because what I would call these in the past would be consolidations. So, but auction zones do seem to be a lot more descriptive of what's going on. It really does. It really does. I like it, so I've adapted that. Market cues. I mean, the VIX is big old down day today. A lot of conflicting signals, but I'm not bearish. I'm not bearish on the market. There's a lot of skepticism out there, and so if there's a lot of skepticism out there, I've got to be bullish myself. I've got to be at least thinking that way, because everyone else is thinking that the market's going to go down, the dollar's going to fail, all that kind of stuff. I have to just discount those as a contrarian, maybe to a fault. So, individual positions. Amazon is still, the guy in the ride to the airport. He asked me, what's the one stock that should look into for wealth building? Amazon. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere, and they're at a 20-year 50% retracement. 94.20 is the level that been looking at this since it hit it back in basically October, and then did a little pullback here in March of this year. But I mean, long term, my girlfriend's not going to stop buying stuff off Amazon. Girlfriends and wives and men too. I buy stuff on Amazon, but still, I don't see a competitor to Amazon coming up anytime soon. I don't. In fact, you got companies like Party City, Bed Bath & Beyond, all going out of business, and that's because where are you going to order it? Amazon.
What about Wish?
Huh?
Come on. Wish?
Wish? What about Wish?
That's a joke. That's
Oh.
a joke.
What? Yeah, somebody, I put this in the thing today. Let me catch up on chat here in a second. Somebody asked me about Zoom. Whew, man, woof. All these pandemic stories. Ugh. Peloton was kind of obvious to avoid. I mean, who has never, like, my parents had exercise equipment that found its way to the basement and never left. I mean, that's home exercise equipment as an investment. Yeah. All right, what's this bad ME fees? Free gold competition from CME. What is this? What is this? CME Group.
This is when they put up like these trading competitions for like futures.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good promotion for them to get people making commissions for them. Are you ready to
I actually
go
don't
for
know.
gold?
I don't know if they actually. I don't know if it's paper trading or if it's actual trading on some. I think it depends.
Register for free with the CME Institute, which is a trading simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Arm yourself with product knowledge and practice, and then test your skills in the trading competition beginning Sunday at 5. I guess it goes for the week. So a week-long trading challenge. Interesting.
I don't know if I ever really traded, not gold. I never really traded gold futures.
I mean, I bet you this. Well, every single instrument's going to have its own personality, but I think if you practice, you could probably get just as good as you are on equity futures. But it's going to have its
Maybe.
own. You're not going to have the news events. They're going to move you as much to give you that
Yeah.
volatility.
Those feel
So
so good too. That's what
yeah.
I'm here for.
All right, continuing on. Activision Blizzard. Ugh, I'm pissy about that. That's what are you gonna do? I just gotta hold the shares on that and see what happens. I'll keep reading the news on it. Caterpillar. Someone asked me about this on Discord because I posted this a few weeks ago when I got into it. They got stopped out on Caterpillar, but it's still at this 50% level. Very, very key level of about, let's call it 215. Let me clean this up a little bit.
I think it was 213.32.
Yeah, 213.32. And so earnings on Thursday of, I think, April 27th, about a week or two ago, stopped them out. But what it did was it created an actual spike. And so this is one of those situations where if you get stopped out and you see something like this, there's nothing wrong with going back in. And I still like this level a lot until now the 202 level is actually broken. So this I still like CAT, still like it. EMN, this has been very volatile. This is, let me clean this up a little bit. This is a materials company, or it's chemicals. Still kind of hanging out at this 82.46 level. Just we're going to see which way it breaks from it. So that's another trade for this year. Kroger, obligatory. It's bullish. There you go, Jen. MKTX. Now, I did notice this in doing some prep. It may be getting time to get out of MKTX. I was able to get in here, took some profit in the run up, and I've been waiting to see what happens at this 308 level right here. And it's not holding it. Close this week below it. So, going to give this a little bit more play and then potentially take the last leg of profit. I would have liked to have seen it gotten up into the 400s, but wasn't meant to be. Not this year. My boy's not here with his RCL, but he's a big cruise line person. Cruise lines were, of course, the meme trade, one of the meme trades of 2020. Got up to 33 on NCLH. This is my pick, and then it made a spike on March the 20th. I believe it was was it a 30-minute? I think that clued me into it, but basically, as I got it marked off here, higher lows going up, and so far it's holding. I'm looking for this thing to first take profit at about 15, but hopefully a little bit more. So this is another thing. Here's another thing about the trades I put on this year. Some of them have gotten stopped out, but a lot of them are holding, and that's what kind of leans me to think bullish. We're not really breaking new lows on a lot of individual stocks, but who knows what could happen. So the other thing, TFC. This is my choice for playing banks going, bust, whatever. TFC is a regional bank, but it's a pretty big regional bank. It's really big in the southeast right here. And so if you're looking at narratives, every year has its narrative, whether it's EV, whether it's pot stocks, oil. Remember when oil went below zero in futures, and dirty energy was going to go away. It was going to be EV, nothing else. And how's that working out for old ExxonMobil? ExxonMobil, back in 2021 or 2020, this was one of the most hated stocks. I picked this up back around 47.50, and I thought I was crazy because it was trading below the book value of the stock. In other words, if they sold everything they owned, they would be worth about $55 a share at that point. And so, yeah, I thought I was crazy. Like, why is this thing so undervalued? And so the thing this year, that the number one thing that this year is probably undervalued is bank stocks. And there's reasons for that. But if you're looking for something that's a bargain, it has to be this year. What was that regional bank ETF that you were looking at? What was the symbol for that?
KRE.
KRE. So what were you trying to do in that this week?
I got tired of seeing everybody telling me about how banks were going to zero, so I bought some leaps.
I hear you. I don't have my implied volatility up, but I imagine IV is a little bit high. But if you go far out, it's not going to be that big a deal. Should
Yeah,
be
I
should
went.
be
I went
okay.
to. I went to January of 24 for it.
It's about 7 months away. Should be okay. What strike were you aiming for?
Let me look. I don't remember now. I have the
50 maybe.
$45 strike.
45 is good. I mean, the
Yeah,
retracement of the whole leg down is 50. Nice round number. So yeah, I think that's good. That's
we shall
definitely a
see.
bargain. Yeah, we shall see. I mean, look, that's going to be the thing today. I mean, the next thing we're going to talk about is Tesla. And back in 2019, Tesla, for those that may or may not were trading then, like a lot of smart people. I knew some multi millionaires that were calling up. Well, I can't say how I know this, but they were contacting their brokers and they were selling millions of dollars in calls and other kinds of crazy ways to bet on Elon failing. And as much as I have said in the past, don't bet against Elon, I did take a short on Tesla because I had to off the technical level. But last week I tried to post it in Discord. I think I made a post about it. I even put the thumbnail of my live stream last week. But if there's another trade that I believe in, it's Tesla long off this 160 level, which is the 50% retracement of the January to February move. And we came down, overshot it, which is exactly what I was looking for it to do, and came back, did a couple of good, really good setups last week, not this week, but the week before, including a spike on the 5 minute right at the open. That is a freaking beautiful spike because it's a part of a double bottom. Go and study this. If you guys wonder what I talk about with spikes, it's basically when price does a false breakout or it breaks below a low. The low was Wednesday, April the 26th, and then you come forward to a week. Wait, well that's Wednesday 10. It's Thursday. So it made a low on Wednesday, April 26th, and then it came down the next day, Thursday, April the 27th at the open, broke below that level, came back up inside this range, and that sets you up with a double bottom, even pulls you back to give you a nice little entry at those little 50% right there. And wow, that's a good trade. And then when I caught this a little bit later, as it's coming up, we would jump up now to the 15 minute. It does another spike on Friday, except one to the upside. But if that's broken, that can trigger you a trend on the way up. Give it a little bit of a stop down here in case it wants to do this mess right here. And see if you can then this week finally get up off that range. And I
Once we
bet
got
you,
over 165, it was gone.
yeah. So
That's where I lost all of Yikaz's money 2 weeks ago. No,
so
just kidding.
again,
I mean,
this
we did lose, but not all.
here's another beauty of it too. Remember if you look on the daily, that 50% of the leg up from the low of January up to the high that it made in February. Again, down here on the lower time frame, this leg up right here sets up its own 50%, right matching with that same level. Hit it 3 freaking times, and then finally, boom. So I didn't even see that this week, but man, those are some good hits of that level. I
And if you look at the weekly real quick, keep that 50 there that you're
mm-hmm,
looking at.
yeah,
I'm sorry, and look at the weekly against 160, right?
yeah,
I think it
160,
closed both weeks over it.
yeah,
It spiked it, but it closed both weeks over it.
yeah. Oh, it's beauty.
It's
This is one
pretty
of those
strong.
things that I really hope works not just to make money, but also to just validate. Because the price action on Tesla here has been absolutely textbook. Well, except for not going exactly to my target when I wanted it to, but it got there. It's short. It basically short off this level, which was a multi-month, years-long level that it went to in 2022. Solid hold right there when this rally came up. A lot of people wanted it to go. Kathy, I know, wanted to go up to like 1700, but not yet. But this pullback right here is how you play the January leg up. You don't jump in here. You don't jump in after the move. You wait for a pullback, and it's looking good. It's looking really good to come back
And
up.
now Nuggles can finally have his day.
I wonder if he bought. I wonder if he
I don't
finally
know.
did. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I pinged him. I actually pinged him and I said, "Hey, Luggles,
I
we're doing
saw it.
it.
I seen it. I seen it.
Now's the time." So yeah. So that's Tesla. What else you got? What else you been looking at this week?
What else have I been looking at? I've been really just doing futures. Oil. I took an oil trade yesterday.
Oil's up a lot. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, hang on a
Yeah.
second. Hang on a second.
Yes, I'm very happy with my oil
Yeah.
situation right now.
I've got this retracement here, which I think is at 0. So I guess if you don't count this spike as a low.
Yeah, because the 68.5 is the one that I charted without the negative spike, and that's
Uh-huh.
exactly if you go 15-minute chart on I had 68 and 68.5 are my two numbers for oil,
Look at that.
and I got
Look at that
yeah I
spike.
didn't take the initial spike, but then I got 68.5 retest, took some profit, got stopped out, re-entered at 68, and I'm long from 68 on oil right now in
Yeah,
futures.
that looks good. I really like that level. Um, yeah, that's 65 basically. Yeah, that's a solid. It's a 50% of the 0 up to the high, and
Yeah,
already hit it
yeah,
back in March. Boom, hit it this week. Good stuff.
yeah. And I think I might have closed the daily over the tank and said my charts aren't loading right now for some reason.
Let me catch up on chat here. Any thoughts on UBX UST? So what is
Oh, it
UBX?
didn't.
UBX USDT. This is this one that we looked at for you, Eros? I bet because I think I've got it on my YOLO list. Hang on. So I like to keep a list of yeah. I think you were in the chat a few weeks ago, and you had me look at this. So I try to keep up with these because a lot of these are really good, and I already had that marked off for you. For I'm not going to count the zeros here. I hate those things. But really, what you needed to happen was you needed this thing to get up to 887, wherever that is, decimal places, and break that high that it made in February. And you didn't get that. So now you're sitting here in an auction zone or consolidation. So don't know what to tell you there. It should have gone. It should have gone. So protect yourself on anything that might happen. That being said, you never know with these things because a good friend of mine, he has had me watch, and he has been in XRD, which it did a lot of the same kind of mess in February of this year. Came down, made a low. He diamond handed it, and it came back up again, gave him a huge return, but it's also kind of fallen off. So we're in the crypto winter. What happens in the crypto winter is you're going to see some of these pumps, and you got to play them as pumps. The reason people want to get into these things is because it has a good narrative behind it, whatever the use case for this crypto is, but you can't drink the Kool-Aid too much. There will be another crypto bull market, but it's probably not going to happen this year. You need that rising tide of optimism for crypto and how it's going to change the world and all that kind of thing that you had in 2021. You need that to lift everything up. Otherwise, you're just going to have these sort of private pumps based around things that may have a good use case, but again, the only money, the thing that drives the valuation of crypto now, unfortunately, is money flowing into the system. And you don't have 0% interest rates anymore. A lot of people that were willing to blow their money, their stimmy checks on crypto, they're out. The savings rate is at an all-time low. People just don't have cash to throw at these things anymore. So you got to play these things smart. And by smart, I mean you got to play them as a trader. Sure, you can keep some as an investment, but you gotta watch the price action. And when you get a big hockey stick, you've got to take your gains, maybe leave a little bit on, but just tell yourself, look, I'm gonna hold on to just a small amount, but I need to be churning profit because there's a lot of movement in here to be played. So yeah, it should have gone. Thoughts on Microsoft? I want them to
Bullish.
buy Activision Blizzard. Yeah, I mean, again, look at this gorgeous level from COVID low to all time high. Well, it kind of broke a little bit. I think it's All right, never
No,
mind.
it held it on the weekly.
Yeah. So this thing is
Good.
trying to shoot for the high, basically. It is trying to. It's breaking out monthly. Yeah, it's bullish. Microsoft is bullish. It's going up to retest the high. If it's going to break it, I don't know. I think were you in here last week asking about that? I think someone was asking about Microsoft maybe prior to earnings this week. And if I were in a long, I would be basically looking for conservative target of 33.5. But that thing's going. That thing's going up. Not much. I don't see a trade for me because I like pullbacks. So yeah, let's see. On days when oil is up, YPF. That is, what is this? EC and PBR are great day trades. Check them out today. Nice gains. All right.
I'm very long PBR, and I feel attacked. So
You're
that is an
very long
investment stock.
PBR. Okay. What do you mean? Why do you
Great
feel
ticker.
attacked?
I'm just being funny.
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
he says a day trade stock. It does kind of whip all over the place,
Yeah.
but it pays a good dividend.
It's Brazilian and anything in Brazil. I actually had a discussion on the Discord this week. Someone was getting like 12%. Let me look where that is. Someone was getting like 12% on some Brazil bonds. And yeah, 12.49% on 3-month Brazil bonds. And they were like, wow, this is amazing. And it kind of is. But I had to explain to him that the reason you get paid that much is because Brazil has had multiple sovereign debt crises. It's basically where they didn't pay their bills. They didn't pay their interest. They defaulted or had to restructure. The last one was in 1990. Brazil, a lot of South American countries have had problems paying off their debt and have defaulted multiple times. And so in if you look at the S&P Standard & Poor rating, Moody's, they're all rating these things B minus. This is junk bond level. And so if you're at junk bond level, basically the market is pricing in that you're not going to pay your debts. And so you're going to have to charge, or you're going to have to pay investors a higher interest rate. It's the risk. And so whenever I see something offering more than, let's say anything more than 2 or 3% the risk-free rate, which right now is about 5%. So if anything's over 8% or 9% now, I'm going to be a little cautious. I am. I mean, it sounds good, almost too good to be true, but that's because it comes with risk. What was the thing? Oh, so let's look at the Brazilian currency right now. So that's USDR. Say real. See Brazilian real. BRL. There you go. So it's actually going up with the dollar going down. A little choppy, but it's not. It's pretty stable actually. Brazilian country, their economy does, just based on their currency, seems to be doing pretty stable versus the U.S. dollar right now. Market Q's has an idea: short KRE, long JPM. That does seem to be the trade, and that's why you don't see JPM, or what about Goldman Sachs? Are they getting affected by this? JPM is one of these too big to fail banks, and it's assumed in this bank failure narrative that if JP Morgan of all places got into trouble, that the US government would bail them out. And so if you're going to have bank stocks, the narrative seems to be JP Morgan is the safe bet. And then KRE, as you were saying, for these are the regional banks, short them. The problem with your trade, Market Qs, is I think you're getting a little too late. You're shorting something that has been on a descent into the valley of risk. What?
A bender, things
A
down.
bender. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're a little late in putting on that trade. I think essentially what okay, anything can happen. Okay. We've been since March, this whole bank crisis stuff has been going on. These narratives do eventually come to an end. They eventually do play out. And I'm not at all surprised that this week you had one more push down, one more FUD, another bank collapse, that sort of thing, to really push that narrative, to really validate it, to challenge people like me that decided to go against it by buying some bank stocks. And so really what I see this last move this week as is exit liquidity for the shorts. It's that last leg to give you a pump down and get people thinking that this thing's real. It's very far gone. And so I think the money to be made in the banking crisis narrative on the short side, I think has already been made. Could be a little more. The US dollar could fail. Who knows? That's what everyone's thinking. But as a trader, I look at this as this trend has played out. That's just my opinion. So FPANG, will the U.S. default to? Well, the beauty of the United States is no one so far has called us on our stuff. That's giving me a. Let me take my ad blocker off. I'll bring your link up. Yes, so once again, Congress is playing the debt ceiling. I don't think you would even call it a game of chicken anymore. They're going to raise the limit. They always do. It's not really going to. They're not actually no political party. Neither one of them. Go away. Neither one of them is going to actually tell us to stop raising the debt. There was a chart that I saw this week that was kind of scary. Hang on. It was the Jen. If you're there and you got some time, help me by look up the. I don't think it was posted in Discord this week, but it was the United States interest rate payments. Interest rate payments charts. Let's see. Federal government current expenditure interest payments. Yeah. Okay. Here it is. So this is to play into the FUD a little bit. So this is basically our interest payments. This is just the current expenditures on interest. And it has, since the beginning of this year, undergone a hockey stick.
Leptokurtic interest payments.
Yeah. So
well, only one direction, straight up.
Well, this is because we're not reducing the debt and we're raising interest rates. This is kind of that vicious cycle that everyone's kind of warned about, where the Fed can't raise rates too high because then we can't pay off the debts because the interest will be too high. And so it's a very unenviable position that we're all unfortunately going to deal with. I don't think anyone has a good idea for how we're going to get out of this mess, is why there's so much FUD surrounding it. It seems like this is going to cause a catastrophe, but we're just kind of waiting for it to happen. But as far as I don't know. JP Morgan is the one that bought FRC. So, yep. That's just to add to the FUD this week, noticing this. Oof. Look, I think the quarter one figures were finally announced on April 27th, and they're just higher. So this is in 929. Is that in billions or trillions? What's this? This news makes your long carry even more valid. So First Republic Bank is now part of JP Morgan Chase. What do you mean, bad fees? So, all right. Let me catch up with the chat here. Can market and DXY both go up together? They can. Kosh, what is the situation you think it could happen in? Well, it happened in recent memory, because we'll bring up SPY. Actually, let's do this. And so typically what Kosh is talking about here is the tendency for the US dollar to be inversely correlated with the stock market. And that makes sense because when you sell your US stocks, you get, when you sell your US stocks, you get US dollars. And so you're wanting your dollars more than you want the stocks. And also, it's considered to be risk off. Weekly. Okay. So we had that situation throughout 2021 where both the stock market and the US dollar went up. It was a late 2021 after the dollar bottomed out in the beginning of 2021. So from the beginning of 2021 up until the high, you do have a situation where they're both going up. This would be what you would call a secular bullish trend on the dollar. And the reason the dollar went up so much and during that point and other times is because interest rates went up. It was harder to borrow. There was more demand for US dollars. And now, though, the correlation is sort of starting to catch back up with it, where you see the dollar starting to break supports just as the stock market is hitting resistances. So they are now back in correlation. What would make them both go up together? I guess a really good economy and rising interest rates. But that's very rare. And I think that's why you saw that really only during that period of 2021. It was a weird time. The most bullish market, by my estimation, new all-time high every month. And interest rates, interest rates are still low then. I'm going to go with I don't know. I'm not going to try to BS you on that. I'm not a PhD economist. Maybe they have a better explanation, but they're no better traders than I am. I'll tell you that. All right. So, Angie, can you look at DVN? Was that a pharmaceutical? Or it's
energy.
Energy, okay. I think I would wonder, why are they not benefiting more from rising energy prices?
Well, this was kind of a meme one for a while.
Really? Why?
I don't know why.
So
this was like all over.
I would like to see what happens when DVN comes down to 42. That's a nice level of inflection right here. So I think that's probably going to come back a little bit more on that. So, yep. All right. Well, we're coming back into the last couple minutes here. You got anything else to add? Anybody got something to look at? Let me know. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Got myself caught back up to speed. What you got, Bougie? I see you typing. So last plug, I have a Discord community. Click the link below. I also do these live streams 4 p.m. every Friday. Keep you apprised of what we're trading on there. What are my GU predictions? Is that a stock or is that global underwear? What is GU? ADB. Adobe. Tech stock. Let's go and look at Adobe from its all-time low, or relative all-time low, up to here. Looking a lot like Amazon. I think you have a little overshoot of the 50% here in October, but you're starting to kind of chop around here at the 350 level. This is the level on Adobe, long term. Daily chart, I don't see anything that I particularly like. You got an earnings low from March. Don't want it to really break that, but I think 350 basically just needs to hold on to this and start going up. UK regulators did approve the merger. It did not approve. Are you talking about Activision Blizzard or ATVI? You mean? Yeah, I'm very sad panda about ATVI not going through quickly.
He's unwell about that one. You know how I know it's a bull market?
What? How?
Because Intel didn't sell on earnings this time.
Ha.
There's nothing more American than selling Intel on earnings, and it went positive on earnings. Pulled back, filled the gap, but it was green in earnings. That is a bullish indicator to me.
It's starting to make higher highs out of this range that it's been in
It
since
is, isn't it?
October.
Is, isn't it right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they always sell Intel on earnings.
Had to tell my friend about that. He's a big Intel bull. He's a super smart guy, Georgia Tech research guy. He's put a lot into it, and he admits he's not a good investor trader because he just keeps buying Intel based on the things that they're working on. But the question is, are they going to be able to make money on all these cool technologies like lithographic ways of making chips? He thinks they're just the coolest thing ever, but are they actually going to sell these chips? That is the question. Oh,
No
Great
idea.
Britain pound. Okay, yeah, let's look at the pound.
For $30 a share, you might give it a try.
So with the rest of the dollar getting weaker, Bougie, the Great Britain pound is getting greater. And the level that corresponded with the 102 of the DXY, the dollar index, which was also the euro dollar 109 level. In the case of your currency, it is getting stronger. So now it is less ideal for an American to travel abroad with dollars. It's getting to the point where it's getting more equal. It's nice to come visit the States now because it's going up. It's already broken this level, the key level here of 123. So I would say, you've got basically the leg down from May of 21 to the low of September. You came up to this 50%, held it, bounced off it again. This thing's going up. The dollar across the board, either the index, the dollar index, the euro dollar, or the dollar yen. I think dollar yen, though, is the only one that has really held its pullback and has stayed weak against the dollar. But that's just because the Bank of Japan is very, very insistent on devaluing their currency as they have been for the last 30 years. So yeah, that's interesting. I think one of the reasons. Catch me up on this, Bougie. Do you follow the Bank of England? Yeah, I'm looking at pound right now. Bad. Do you follow the Bank of England? Yeah, I'm looking at Matic here in a second to finish things up. So let's see. Bank of England rate hikes. I bet that the reason the Great Britain the pound is going up is, because the UK central bank is actually raising their rates as well. Okay, so they're coming up to 4.25%. I'm not sure how that corresponds to our rate, but that's their key rate. Okay, so they're keeping up with us, and because I did remember reading that the euro, the EU central bank, have also been raising rates. They are at 3.75, so not quite as high as us, but that's interest rates drive forex, and that's why you had this huge rise in the dollar, was because we alone, the United States, were raising interest rates. But now all these other countries have started catching up, trying to get inflation under control as well. And so, but they're not going to raise it above the United States. They want to stay, they want to keep their currencies competitive, people buying their stuff, keeping their economy going. And so now some very interesting things are happening in Forex because you have this divergence. But Bank of Japan interest rates, they are at Bank of Japan's still at negative, or minus 0.1%. So there you go. That's why the yen has not broken through. So most central banks are increasing interest rates. Yeah. All right. Let's look at Matic, a favorite of yesteryear. So, as far as tradable signals, I've got this marked up for my friends that were really into Matic. I just don't see anything tradable here. I mean, this is an investment. If you believe in it, I'll say this though, it's not down as much from last year as some currencies. I think one that let's look at ADA Cardano. Yeah, so you're not Cardano. You're not doing that bad. So Matic still holding its ground. There's a lot of reason to just kind of hold on to your crypto, but the thing you got to understand is, ask people who's buying crypto. Like everyone's scared, everyone's holding, no one's adding to their positions, and unless you have that, it's not going to go up because these things don't actually produce value. They don't actually generate wealth. There's no really businesses on it. Even email in the early days of the internet, people were using that to save on postage stamps. I don't really see the use case for crypto out there. Maybe remittances, but how's that any different from Venmo? So we just don't have it there yet. The only way that you're going to get, because it doesn't generate any money, the only way that you're going to get these cryptos to go up is with money flowing in, and you got to have people being optimistic to get that.
Hey,
What
close my 60 and a quarter short, or hold it over the weekend.
Let's look at that. That's a good question. I don't like to hold things over the weekend. You're at 60. I mean, how much did you make this week? Well, don't tell me the number, but did you do good this week?
Yes,
Okay. So would a gap really make you sad to start the week if it went against you?
it would make no material difference. It's
Okay.
just a question of
I
what are we?
think
Is it going to be? Do you go for it or no? That's all.
I mean, if you had to, on the balance of probability, it held the level, so I would say down going into next week.
Yeah,
But it's just
got
probability.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Nobody's playing their hand. They're just kicking the ball back and forth.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
All right. Well, I'm going to close it up. Thanks, guys, for joining this week and catching me up to speed. Do this every Friday. Click the links below, join the Discord, and we'll be trading next week. So have a good weekend and trade wisely. See you guys later.